If you clicked on this video, you probably want to know about this flying machine ice farm. So we're going to talk about it right now and give you a tutorial. So as you can see behind me, obviously this farm works with a flying machine. The ice forms on top and then is pushed down by the flying machine. Once it's pushed down from the top, it is stored in these icicles, waiting for you to harvest it. And one of the coolest things about this farm is it really does look like icicles as it's forming. And on to the real questions though, like how much ice can this farm hold and produce in an AFK session? Well, that's subjective because the flying machine, as long as you don't go out of unloaded chunks, can go as far as you want that way. And so to make a complicated answer simple, we need to know that there are 42 blocks in that direction times 8, which is 336, times 12, which is 4,032, and then we're going to subtract 3 layers from that we don't harvest, meaning that is 3,024 ice this farm can hold. So 3 layers of ice we don't harvest. Let me explain that really quickly. First of all, we need this layer of ice to stay intact so that we can form more ice on the top. And we need this layer of ice here to stay intact so that we can walk on top of the farm and collect what we harvest. And that third layer is melted by those jack-o'-lanterns you see down there to prevent a problem that I have demonstrated with these obsidian blocks. That problem being that once some of these columns of ice reach their push limit, they're not able to be pushed down, which prevents water sources from being formed, like right here and all of these blocks. That means none of this will be able to freeze, and by melting the bottom layer, we store as much ice as possible. And with all the explanations of the farm out of the way, let's get into the tutorial. And the layout will be 15 wide, meaning from there to there, 46 long in that direction, 5 into the ground, and then there's additional 16 above the ground. So it should look something like this. And the next step would just be to line everything you dug out with a block of choice, and then place in these rows of jack-o'-lanterns, leaving 1 block gap all the way around and 1 block gap in between. Now also you could just leave these whatever blocks underground if it's easier for you, and just place the jack-o'-lanterns on top. And for clarity's sake, there should be a 3 block gap between the jack-o'-lantern and the block of ice that we want to melt. Step number 3 would be to fill this in with water. This is kind of an optional step, just like these half slabs are optional. We fill it with water to prevent there from being the running water sound. So if you don't like that, fill it with water. And if you'll place a block 1 block below the top layer, you can bucket water in and it'll fill all the way up. Or another option would be to just cover this whole layer with ice. Now the glass in this step is optional. It could be any other block that you choose. But if you'll go ahead and place ice blocks over top of the jack-o'-lanterns at this level. Same level as the half slabs. Pretty simple step. Get that done and we'll move on. Alright, step number 5 is a little bit more difficult, but it's not too bad. What we're going to do is we're going to build up 9 blocks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8, 9. And then we're going to build above that. And we're basically going to copy the glass and ice above, but we're going to add a layer of blocks here all the way down. And a layer of blocks here all the way down to that end. And then when we get to this end here, the blocks that would be over top of the glass, you're going to put 2 obsidian, a block, 2 obsidian, a block, 2 obsidian, a block, 2 obsidian. Now, of course, these can be furnaces or droppers or anything that's immovable, basically. And then you're going to finally add one more layer of blocks of choice down this way. So you'll have an extra layer of blocks there and here all the way down, and everything else should match the glass and the ice on the bottom. Hopefully that makes sense. If not, there's a world download. Alright, step number 6. Basically, we're going to place a ring around the previous layer that we've built. And if we'll come in at each narrow end and place 2 blocks of regular blocks, and then between there and the other end, these 2 blocks will be immovable. So this should be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 immovable blocks. And then you'll go to this other end and do the exact same thing. 11 immovable blocks. Just like that. Okay, on the outer rows, you're just going to place all those with half slabs. And then a row obsidian to obsidian of stone bricks. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 half slabs. The center one will go from obsidian to obsidian with half slab. Then this one, stone brick or block of choice, all the way obsidian to obsidian. And then 1, 2, 3, and then all of that'll be half slabs. We'll come back in and waterlog all of the half slabs, and it should fill the entire farm up with water. So in this step, we're ready to prep for our flying machine. If you'll come to this end that has the T of half slabs, from where the obsidian starts right here, we're going to come out 1, 2, 3, 4, come back by 1 and up by another one, and then place an obsidian block on top of that. Hopefully that makes sense to your brain. Just like that. And then on the far side, you're just going to place another obsidian here on the top, just like that. Then on the other side, we're going to come out by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 blocks, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And just build a platform right there so that we can, this is where we're going to build our flying machine. Okay, so stepping back to look at the flying machine, it's pretty simple. It's only these 4 blocks: slime, piston, observer, sticky piston. And this is a broken apart section of the flying machine that we're going to go ahead and build over there. So we're going to start with this piece. We're going to start out by placing these 4 blocks there, and what we can do is place our pistons on the bottom just like this. It should be bar orange, gray, skip the orange, and then the gray. And then we skip the orange because of this set of blocks right here that we placed in the previous step. Now what we need to do is place our observers. We're going to place one here. This one that we're looking at is just temporary. We're going to place another one with the face up and the output facing into the slime block, just like that. Now what that does is, if we were to place a block, as you can see, it activates both of those pistons right there. And that's what's going to happen. It'll push, as this is moved, it'll push the ice down. Then we're going to place another temporary here, be any block, and then another one facing down just like the previous one right there. And of course that will activate that block or that piston. And then we're going to place our sticky piston right here, and that is all for that one piece of the flying machine. Now we're going to complete the engine by completing the middle section. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4 right here. And what we need to do is place a regular piston here, 2 pistons there, and then of course we're going to need a sticky piston if we can place it. Let's see if we can do it like, oh, I have to remove that temporarily and then replace it. That way we can place the sticky piston. And then we're also going to need an observer right here facing down, and an observer here facing down. These 2 were temporary. So basically this will actually fly now. Okay, so now what we need to do is we're going to place a sticky piston right here. And then we're going to attach 1, 2, 3 slime blocks. We're going to need 2 pistons here, the orange and the gray there, and then we're going to need a final observer facing down. And of course remove that because it's temporary. And this thing should fly now. So we need to just activate this observer, and we can do that just by placing a block, and that should fly all the way down. Now that the flying machine is on that end and stationary, we can add some stoppers on this end the way we did over there. And so what you want to do is come to the right hand side where the stone brick is, and come out 1, 2, and up by 1, and then place that obsidian right there. Of course, any other movable block. And once you do that, you can remove that. And then you want to come to the left side of the center half slabs, and you're going to place it in the same pattern just like this. So these should be exactly parallel to one another. And then when we activate the right hand side observer here, we should be able to send the flying machine back, and it should stop it properly for us to send it back that way again. Now the reason you need 2 obsidian here is because if you don't stop this one, you'll end up with your flying machine disconnected just like this, and then when you send this off, that piece will stay there. And for clarity, that's the same reason we have 2 obsidian on this end. It cuts down on the redstone needed. And finally, we just need to place a daylight sensor over top of the piston we've been activating. And just like that, as soon as the signal changes, the flying machine is on its way. And then on this side, it's a little more complicated, but this is just an on-off switch. And of course, you need a daylight sensor here on the opposite end. And to clarify which observers go on which side, always going to be the one away from the farm in this diagonal sticky piston layout here. So this side is on this one, of course, and that one will be down there. And we have this on-off switch that works like this. An extended piston blocks the activation here of the flying machine. And we do that just simply by having a redstone line going up via torch tower, redstone across like this, which activates this note block and works as a bud switch, directly powering or diagonally powering the piston to extend. So once we break that, it'll retract because the note block updates. Same reason it extends. And yeah, torch towers, if you don't know how to do that, are pretty simple. Of course, a lever at the bottom. And if we turn it back on, as soon as the daylight changes a little bit, this will activate and send it back across. This also works at night, but it is a little bit slower at night. But either way, guys, I hope you enjoy the tutorial. Hope you build this in your world. Let me know if you do or don't. Whatever. Anyways, subscribe to the channel, share the video, like, do all the things. And thank you so much for joining me. We'll see you in the next tutorial. Bye-bye.